Hi, this is Anna Imagination, and we are talking about how to interrupt, and we're going to blow the concept of interruption out of the water. My favorite line in most musicals, in everything I have watched, is from the movie musical 1776. This is a true story. Did you know that in 1776, when they signed the Declaration of Independence, the vote had to be unanimous? It wasn't. I mean, it was, but it wasn't. There was one abstention, I believe is the word. The one abstention came from New York. New York did not sign the Declaration of Independence. Technically, New York State is still under British rule, but don't tell them that. We never signed it. We did not sign. Actually, I think we did. I think accordingly, we said to hell with New York, I'm signing it anyway. So even though he did not vote, the delegates from New York did not vote, they did sign it anyway. And the words in the musical are, to hell with New York, I'm going to sign it anyway. This is true. So when they're going through the voting process, every time they voted on anything, New York abstained 100% of the time. Every single time anything was decided or voted on, New York State stood up and said, New York abstains courteously. New York abstains courteously. John Hancock's going through everything. Stephen Hopkins, who was the Secretary of Congress, was going through the voting process. New York abstains courteously. And it got over to New York over and over again. Okay, on the topic of this, New York abstains courteously. So at one point, John Hancock is like fed up with it. And he's like, what is going on in New York? Can't New York just stay in New York? And he sits back. So later on, they're going through another really important thing, and it's a tie. New York abstains courteously. What the hell goes on in New York? Says John Hancock. And the delegate from New York goes, actually, his name is Robert Livingston, I believe. Robert Livingston, which is a huge thing here in New York State, is the Livingston estate. And yeah, Robert Livingston. So he goes, I'm sorry. Have you ever been to a meeting in New York? And he goes, everyone speaks so loudly and so fast, and no one listens to anyone else, that nothing ever gets done. I have watched over 8 live productions of 1776, all in New York State. And that line requires a 5-minute cool down period in New York, because we all know it's fucking true. We know. Oh yeah. No one listens to anybody else here. We talk so loud and so fast, and no one ever listens to anyone. And as a result, nothing ever gets done. You want a time to talk? You're going to have to interrupt. Which is why in New York State, interruption doesn't exist, because it's the only way you are going to get a word in. No matter where you live in New York State, this is a fact. There's 2 people in New York State. There's the people who talk and the people who don't get the chance to talk because they don't know how to interrupt. This is a fact of life. This is survival. This is survival of the fittest. Actually, it's survival of the loudest. And the faster you talk, the reason why we talk fast is because if you don't talk fast enough, you know you're going to be cut off too soon. That is why we have the New York Minute, is because if you take too long to get a point out, you're going to get cut off. It's the art of interruption. And the best part is, we know how to do it properly. We know how to do it politely. Now, there's 2 sides of this coin. There's the abuser's side, which is a whole nother thing. We're going to set that over there. And then there's the not abuser side. There's the side of us where we're going, oh yeah, you totally are going to have to interrupt. Like, if you want a word in, it's the art. And at a table, I went to trivia night. Here in New York City, trivia night. Manhattan, Hell's Kitchen, trivia night. How do you think that went? They give the question, boom, all 5 of us. All right, what do you think and we're all talking over each other and we're all listening. This is how good we are at this skill. We're all listening to each other, 5 different people talking at the same time. We're processing what everybody is saying. We're highlighting the points. You. This is a developed skill. I don't think anyone else in the entire world has learned this skill. New York State is very unique for this skill because we don't live in a world of interruption. The abusers do, but not the rest of us. So Now it comes down to the question, did you grow up on the abuser side of interruption or on the non-abuser side? Because survival of the most loud and fastest, you got to learn how to do it. You got to move with the conversation. Now, there's another kind of person. There's a river. So there's this river of conversation that occurs in New York State. Everyone's talking. Everybody's loud. Everybody's obnoxious here. I love it. It's my home. And this current of conversation that occurs moves so fluent and so fast that you know how to jump in and do it. And there are masters at this. I'm one of them, where you'll be out on the street, you'll hear something, and you know how to segue into a conversation and eavesdropping. It's part of the culture here. We know how to do it. We know how to do it right. We have mastered the fucking art of conversation in New York State. We just don't know it. We're tradesmen of it because we're not actually saying it. But when we talk about it, we all go, yeah, that's it exactly. It's New York State. This is why I love this place so much. So there's this current that happens, this current. When you hear this current going, by the way, you cannot do this in the South. You cannot do this in the South, just so you know. They have a different culture there. I am not familiar with it. And it's why they call us rude. Oh, we're not rude. There's a current. And either you know the current or you don't. Now, here's how the current works. If you know how to catch the conversation current, you jump in and you swim. Do you remember in Finding Nemo when they're in the vortex current and they're just riding the current with the turtles? It's New York. They found the New York current of conversation. That's it. That's it. Yeah, that is the current. Now you can get into it. You can step into it and you can step out of it. So once you know how to step in and step out of that conversation vortex, you're good. Now, there's the abuser side. So we're going to shelve that. We're going to talk about that later. That's going to be another video. That's going to be over there. All right. So we're going to break it down to 3 parts. You know what? I want my whiteboard. I want my whiteboard. Done, whiteboard time. Because we're going to break this down. I'm going to show you how the rest of the world works because this is how it's done. This is so satisfying, by the way. This is like really fucking satisfying for me. All right. So this is the conversation current that we're all looking at. The conversation current. Okay. And then we're going to just call it the abuser's box. That's what this is. This is the abuser's box. So we're going to talk about the abuser's box in another video because this is a whole nother thing happening here. And when you realize that you grew up inside the abuser's box, the game changes. When you realize that the whole thing revolves, let me just fix my tech here because I don't like the angle and the physics and the geometry is all wrong with my computer. Okay, there we go. I like my screen to be at a certain angle, but I want my camera so I just gotta shit here first. Just give me a second. We're having tech issues. This is where you hear music playing. Okay, so you have the abuser's box. We're gonna put that over there. Now you're gonna have the wallflowers and the introverts. Now, unfortunately, most of these people come from the abuser's box. So you have people who are born in the abuser's box, they're so abused, and then they come out. And this conversation current is happening in New York State. I'm going to call it the New York conversation current. That's it. The New York conversation current. There's just no other word for it. It only exists in New York. And either you jump in and you go with the current or you don't. And the people who are the wallflowers and the introverts do not know how to jump into the conversation. That's it. So there's people who are there in the conversation current and there's not. Now, because I know this, I am the person who I deliberately speak louder. We do this here. We deliberately speak louder to invite others to eavesdrop and jump into conversation. One of my favorite moments in the musical, I love musicals, and ironically, many of them take place in New York City. That's not an accident. And On the Town, you got Frank Sinatra, Gene Kelly, and the other guy all on the subway for the first time. And they're all hanging around, and there's these 2 women. So I said, oh my God, and then what happened? And then she said, and oh my God, and then what did you do? Well, and they stop and they look, and there are these 3 sailors, Frank Sinatra, Gene Kelly, and the other guy, all just like, yeah, and then what happened? And the 2 women stop and go, and then you hear them whisper, or you see them whispering into each other's ear. And then you see the woman going, oh, that's New York. That's how it's done. That is how it's done. If you are talking loud enough to be heard, you are inviting these. You know you're part of the entertainment. You know you are part of the entertainment here. It's great. The whole goddamn city is a stage. And everyone is the entertainer. We all know it. We have people who live here just for the people watching. That is what we do. We people watch. I love riding the subway just to people watch. My daughter says, Mom, I'm bored. It's New York. You go get the N train and you people watch. It's a thing here. You get some, I don't tell her to get weed. You get some weed, you get on the train and you people watch. It's a hobby. And I remember this one day. This is all related. Believe me, this is the New York conversation current. I remember this one day I was watching Instagram and there was this microwave head people. The microwave head people is a thing in New York City where people wear microwaves on their heads, and when you open the door, there's their head. And I was sitting on the subway looking at this video of the microwave people heads who are on the subway. And my immediate response was this. Actually, I'm going to do this. I was sitting here like this with my phone and I went, where are they? I literally looked up from my phone instantly. And I'm looking around, where are the microwave head people? As if they're going to be right there on my train car. They were not. And I went, oh, the microwave head people aren't there. And then I looked down on my phone and I went, I'm wearing a crown on my head. I am the microwave head people. That's why I couldn't find them on my car train, because they were me. So yeah, you are part of the people watching. One of my favorite subway ads on the subway is, don't be someone else's subway story. It's a thing. It's a thing. Yes. Someone else's subway story. It's a thing here. This is the New York conversation current. And we know how to get in, participate, and get out. And if you don't, you watch it go by going, hi, how do I? So it runs like this. The conversation's going. You gotta jump in. You just gotta jump in. It starts like this. Excuse me, couldn't help but overhearing. That's it. Excuse me, I couldn't help but overhearing. That's all you got. That's it. It's the excuse me, I couldn't help but overhearing. And they know it. They were talking loud. So it's the excuse me, I couldn't help but overhearing. May I butt in? And that's how it's done, people. That is how it's done. The end. We're done with this course. You don't need anything else. That's it. That's it. Now, I cannot tell you how this goes down in any other parts of the world. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. If you don't live in New York State, I can't help you. I really can't. I'm sorry. I've never lived outside of New York State. Oh, I have visited, and I have brought my New York City meanness to other places. And you know what I get? Oh my God, I love New Yorkers, or oh my God, I hate New Yorkers. Dudes. Most cases I get, I love New Yorkers. Oh my God, especially the Brits. They love us. We cut the bullshit. With Brits, they've told me, oh my God, it's like there's so much pomp and circumstance around a topic and no one actually ever talks about the topic. I think this is how the rest of the world is. New York City doesn't have time for this bullshit. It's the whole, there's a topic here that we're not going to look at or talk about. Yes, it's the white elephant. It's the elephant in the room. I'm going to talk to you about not the elephant in the room, and I'm going to talk to you about the weather instead. And we're going to talk about every fucking other thing in the world except the one thing I actually want to talk about. New York doesn't have time for this shit. There's a conversation current. We have talked about the elephant. We're on to the next 5 elements already. And there's the truth of it, is we don't have time. We see an elephant in the room, we talk about it. Hey, did you see that thing? If it's worth talking about, but we sing it all, like elevator or microwave head people. So it's gone and fast, so we're done. We know how to process data that fast. So there's like the New York mind. And then there's everybody everywhere else. And everywhere else is more concerned about tiptoeing and eggshell walking, that nothing ever gets done. I am a firm believer that that gentleman in 1776 who says, have you ever been to a meeting in New York City or in New York State? Everyone talks so fast and so loud, and no, he is a wallflower and an introvert that cannot. Well, maybe he can. He sure doesn't act like a New Yorker in the musical. But, and that's just, yeah, he says nothing. And at the end, when he says, to hell with New York, I'm going to sign, no, that's the New Yorker, and that's the New York, to hell with New York, I'm going to sign it anyway. And that's it really, is, and If you are shy about jumping into conversation like this, I'm going to tell you right now, it is because you probably come from the abuser's box. So you're dealing with a lot more than just interruption. You are actually dealing with your abuse and your trauma. That is really what this is about. We're going to talk about that. That's going to be a whole nother, we're going to break that down. But when you understand this conversation current that occurs, it's a general rule of, I hate to say that word, I'm not going to say that. It's a general understanding that if you are talking loud enough, if you are talking loud enough to be heard, then it is not a private conversation. The bottom line, and New Yorkers know this. We fucking know this shit. If you want it to be a private conversation, then have it privately. And there's the truth. There is the truth. If you want to have a private conversation, then you need to have it in private. Because if you're having a public conversation loudly in public, you are inviting people. Now, my big thing is I want to bridge the gap between the wallflower introvert and others, because it's the, I don't want to disturb them. It's really the question, how do I tell if someone wants conversation? And and that's just it. There is nothing. I am ready to do a healing garden movement where I make this the norm. I don't know, we need a universal sign that says, I love talking to people. I have the best resting bitch face, and I really love engaging with people. Like, please, there's no communication sign that we put out there. There's none. And the universal sign would be, and here's the problem in New York City, is that people watching is so common that just because your phone is down and you're looking around and you're open to receive, it just looks like you're people watching. So people still go, oh, they don't want to be interrupted. So there's two sides to this. The first side, we're going to go ahead and do this. The first side of this is the wallflower. Or we're gonna go the initiate. No, we're gonna go the transmitter. I like to use my words transmitter, and then the other one is going to be the responder or the receiver. And this is it really. So as a responder receiver, I know how to converse with a transmitter. That's easy. That's this. This is if you are wanting to connect with a transmitter. I want to connect with receivers. I want to invite responders, receivers to talk to me as a transmitter. So the question is, are you a transmitter or are you a receiver? If you are a receiver, you are a wallflower. You are an introvert, and you are over here. If you are a transmitter, you are an extrovert. You are loud. And there it is. Those are your two options. It's the ability to determine, is this a private conversation or not? If you see somebody and you hear a conversation that does interest you, those are your people. Did you ever notice? If you hear something that interests you, those are your people. Go to them. And we don't. We don't. Because we're more concerned about interrupting and being rude. You're too nice. You're too nice. You're too nice. There is a book. Go read it. It's called Dr. Aziz Gazipura's, that's his name, Not Nice. Go read it. Not nice. Not nice is where people go when they are from the abuser's box. So understanding if you are a transmitter or a responder receiver is going to be a huge part. Transmitters are really good at initiation. Responders, receivers, they are not. They are not at all. In truth, I am actually a responder receiver who's learning how to be a transmitter. I am learning how to go over, and it's a battle I have. It is a massive battle I have of learning how to turn off the responder receiver and becoming a transmitter. So, which is why I spend so much time going, how can I nurture the responder receivers? How can I invite them in? Because I am a responder receiver who has to work at being a transmitter. I have to really put mental work into transmission. And I have to nurture my extrovert side. If I stop working on my extrovert side, I go right back into being a shut-in. And I can feel that every single day. I can feel it. As I'm talking to you about it right now, I can feel it there. And I'm going, oh, I got to become a transmitter. I got to put myself here. And what it comes down to, what is this feeling inside of me? What is it? It's right here. And it's right here. And I can feel the two spots inside of me. And they're like pulsing, going, danger, danger. I know what that is. That is my subconscious mind going, you're in my zone, man. You're in my zone. You're on to me. I am on to you, subconscious mind. This is how it goes, people. This is how you have a conversation with your subconscious mind. Be nice to your subconscious mind. Yes, we are stomping all over your territory. And we are also well aware that this is what you do to keep us safe. And it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. Yeah, my self-preservation is going off, and this is the abuse. This is it right here. Is the self-preservation, and this is the abuse. Yeah, we're gonna have to get right into the abuser's box with this one. It's your self-preservation going off because interruption, talking, upsetting people, and that's really what this is. Interruption equals pissing abusers off. That is what interruption really is. It's pissing your abusers off. And once you understand that you're safe, you're okay, that it's okay to interrupt. And this is where we get into the wonderful world of exposure, therapy. Because the more you nurture the interruption in the responder, nurturer, receiver, the more the fear grows. The more you teach yourself over and over again that you are in a danger zone. And the more you seek out transmission, the more you might be up against that self-preservation. So it becomes a self-preservation versus your transmission. And you're craving it. Your identity, by the way, your identity is way over here. Your identity is here. Your identity wants to transmit, but your subconscious mind is over here. And this is really what's going on, is your subconscious mind is screaming, stay safe, self-preserve, but your identity is screaming, no, I got to transmit. This is what I desire. This is my dream. This is what I want. And it's a, I don't want to be rude. What you are really saying when you don't want to be rude is, I don't want to get hurt. That's really what that is. And again, that's the abuse. So, and this is it's a very difficult topic. I'm going to be honest with you. This is the real deep shit. This is where it stops being fun and it really starts to get into the heart of the issue is when you interrupt, you're actually catering to that abuser box. And when you start exposure therapy, where you start to move over into transmission, then you're dealing with, well, I don't want to be rude. No, what you want, and the rude and polite are, yeah, this is it right here. This is, we're going to have a talk. We're going to have a fucking talk about this one. Rude is, I don't want to get hurt. Polite is, I don't want to get hurt. I want to be safe. And New Yorkers are so fucking chill with this that we get it. Now, you're going to have on occasion somebody who does come back, very rare, really very rare, who does come in. But hey, this is where the whole, excuse me, I couldn't help it overhearing, may I butt in? And if they say no, okay. And it's hands up, literally, this is a New York sign. This is something we do, which is understood, no offense taken. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. And immediate, there's nothing. There's literally a void. There's no guilt. There's no regret. This is literally a universal New York State sign of, sure, my bad, my mistake, not a problem. And you back off. It's an immediate, so you're approaching somebody, excuse me, I couldn't help it overhearing, may I come in or may I butt in? No, okay, no problem. Back hands up, complete, like it's literally a surrender sign. And then you just back up and it's over. And there's no hard feelings. This is 100% how the New York City, New York State conversation current actually moves. In most cases, oh my God, yes. In most cases, people invite you in and, oh yes, please, I'd love to hear your opinion. And you get a lot of people who really want to hear your opinion and invite you in. So that's really, that's why in New York City, New York State, we are fucking spot on with this. Again, if you're in the abuser's box, completely different ballgame. So now we're going to go ahead and move over to the abuser's box, and we're going to dissect that a little further. Thank you so much, and may the kindest of words always find you.